What's up, Brandon Terror? Today I have a short video for you on reaches and bold predictions. What a reach is during a draft when someone takes a player a lot more than their average draft position. And that's an interesting thing because it usually means that they targeted this player, they had some interest in this player, they thought this player was going to be good and they wanted them on their team so much that they took them before anyone else could. So we'll go over that. And then bold predictions, while we were sitting around kind of bullshitting a little bit at Austin and Mark's house, people were making some bold predictions. So I thought I would capture some of them and air them now. And then we'll air them again maybe week 13 or 14 and we'll see how they panned out. So here is the reach. Cool thing was every team at some point or another reached for a player, someone they liked, possible sleeper, someone with a lot of upside. And you can see that it usually happened around pick 8. And then you can see when they were actually drafted versus the Yahoo ADP. So we'll start with my nipples. They went for John Brown. He's the backup running back for Arizona. He's a backup to Andre Ellington. And even though I drafted Ellington myself, I can definitely see why you would want John Brown because Ellington wasn't that great last year and his preseason wasn't that great. So I could see John Brown eventually getting the starting role in Arizona. So I think that was a good pickup. Rams drill, they got Nelson Aguilar. So, it looks like Rams drill is banking on that high-powered Philadelphia Sam Bradford kind of offense. So I think that could be a good pickup too. He's going to be a wide receiver too for them. And, we'll see how Bradford pans out. Wilford Child went very early for Latavius Murray, who he thinks is going to be top 5 or top 10 running back this year. Got him with pick 3. I think he jumped on him a little bit early. He probably could have waited a little bit, but it just shows that Wilford Child's very confident in this Oakland running back. I went for Kendall Wright very early. This was pretty egregious, actually, because I probably could have actually gotten him a lot later. I think everything I've been reading about him, Mariota's got a lot of chemistry with this guy. But at the same time, there's a lot of other wide receivers down there looking to take, the wide receiver 1 position. But I think this could be Kendall Wright's breakout year if Mariota does half the things that everyone's saying he can do. Wisbeat Brady took Rashad Jennings. He is the Giants running back. Now, he took him kind of early. Jennings has been consistent, but he has a lot of competition this year. He's got Vereen and I think Bradshaw still over there. So it might be a running back by committee situation. Two Live Jew took Ryan Matthews, who I'm not a big fan of. Now, Ryan Matthews got a new team this year. He's going to see some carries with Philly, but I've just never been confident in this guy. I don't like how he runs, and I think he's aging at this point, so I'm not a fan of that pickup. Dingleberries, they took Jonathan Stewart. He's on his own now, and I think people have been waiting for years for this guy to do something. And before, I think his carries were getting snatched by like D'Angelo Williams at the goal line. Pick 5 might be a little bit early for this guy, but he's going to be running back number 1, and they don't have a lot of people to throw to, so they'll be running the ball a lot. Ragin' Ray took Larry Fitzgerald with pick 7. Now, can you imagine a few years ago, Larry Fitzgerald going at pick 7? This guy's good, and I think people were not banking on him because he had a bad year last year. But keep in mind, Carson Palmer's going to be back this year, so we should see some action from Larry Fitzgerald. Willows took TJ Yeldon. I'm not a big fan of, rookie running backs for bad teams like Jacksonville. I think last year, who was it? Toby Gerhardt. He burned a lot of people. So I'm not a fan of taking TJ Yeldon at pick 5. Greg's team, they took Devontae Adams. I think the reason that this looks like a reach is because a lot of these Yahoo ADPs were determined when Jordy Nelson was playing, so he was being drafted a lot later. But with Nelson out, I think Greg actually probably took him at the right time because he's going to be a wide receiver too for Green Bay. So pick 4 might have been a tiny bit early, but it's probably what he wanted to anyway because, any guy that Aaron Rodgers is throwing to is a good guy to have. So here's our bold predictions. Mark thinks that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to have a sophomore slump. He was on the cover of Madden, I think, so he might be right. Latavius Murray, top 10 running back. Brandon Cooks and Jordan Matthews, top 10 wide receivers. Cam Newton does better than Russell Wilson or finishes the season with more fantasy points than Russell Wilson. Brian says LaShawn McCoy will be the number 1 running back. Very bold. And Hank has his first heart attack. I'm not sure which one of these is actually more likely to happen. Ryan says this is his one and only prediction. Dorial Green Beckham, who I actually had to look up, from Tennessee will be a top 20 wide receiver. I hope he's not, because I drafted Kendall Wright. Austin offered up his top 5 quarterbacks at the end of the season. I think this is in terms of fantasy points. Rodgers, Wilson, Luck, Breeze, Brady, with an honorable mention, Teddy Bridgewater. Ray Rice will get signed, and the percentage of correct bold predictions is less than 20%. Myself, DeMarco Murray gets hurt and misses games. I'm not sure that's actually a bold prediction. CJ Anderson is a dud. I mean, this guy was going round 1 or 2, and I don't think he should have gone that high. Devontae Parker, Miami wide receiver, is a top 20 wide receiver. And another wide receiver from Miami, Jarvis Landry, is a top 10 wide receiver. You can see I got some faith in the fish this year. And lastly, we have Hank. Ryan Tannehill will be a top 5 quarterback. Brian Quick, wide receiver for the Rams, will be a top 20 wide receiver. And Chris Ivory will get over 1,000 yards. So, if you guys have any bold predictions that I couldn't get into the video, post them on the message board where this video is posted. And I'll recap all the predictions probably week 13, 14, maybe 15, whenever I have time. And we'll see who was right and who was wrong, and we can laugh at people and give people props. All right, so season's starting up. So good luck to everybody, and hopefully this will be a great season.